Western Carolina, and for all the fall sports coming your way, I think we got volume now. I think we're going. It's the first one. It's exhibition season here. We got to get this going right. So again, William Hamby dropping in there, and my good friend Eddie Poot also listening in and watching in. But I think we might have it now. So we'll see if we go from there. Again, your fall sports preview show presented by Stanberry Insurance, online stanberry-ins.com, here at the new home for Catamount Football Weekly each and every Monday night starting on the 25th here at Catamount Jaxe, right across from the Western Carolina campus. Next time you're here, come over and have a nice drink and then maybe throw some axes or so. Again, alcohol and axes, they go well together. I love it. It's so much fun here at Catamount Jaxe. Make sure you stop by and see them, proud supporters of Western Carolina Catamount Athletics. Again, we'll start things off as the champs are here. We're talking about back-to-back Southern Conference regular season champion, our Catamount soccer team, and head coach Chad Miller. Coach, how many times have we done this now? It's been a few, right?
A couple.
Yeah, just a couple.
Couple.
But back-to-back regular season champions, you got the hardware. I'll show the folks at home the hardware. Let's get a zoom. Can we get a zoom in on the ring here? Let's look at the championship hardware there. You got to get the rings to the girls the other night. It's tough to win a championship. It's even tougher to go back-to-back. Not to steal a phrase from Pat Riley, but how hard is it going to be to look at that third time being the charm?
Yeah, we've never done it. So, it's different area for us. I think 2023 was exciting. This group had never achieved that. And so that drive in the season and that determination just kept building. And then last year was a completely different animal because we were on top. And now you're getting everybody's best shot. You're not going to sneak up on anybody. Can you sustain that? And last year, arguably, besides winning the championship, was statistically even more dominating than 23. And so now my job becomes tough. Preseason poll comes out today, all the accolades, but to me, that's all last year.
Right.
And so it's keeping everybody level and being hungry and understanding what we've accomplished is something special, but now we're fighting to stay there. And so, yeah, that's the challenge. That's my biggest challenge, is to keep them level-headed and stay hungry, stay determined, stay hungry.
You go back 2 years ago and talk about that squad, and you talk about last year's team. How would you define those two teams? If you had to describe those two squads in brief, how would you talk about those two teams the last 2 years that won back-to-back regular season titles?
Yeah, I think 2023, the thing that really stood out to me from other teams that I've had was just a very selfless group. And I think we talked about that before. Mm-hmm. But I felt like that group was as excited for the people standing next to them as they were themselves. And I think in today's society, that's not normal.
Right.
And so that group was just all about each other. And obviously that led into last year. I think last year mental toughness was something that stood out to me in that group. I mean, we just were very mentally tough and got on a roll and just refused to back down. And leadership, I think both years leadership was outstanding. I think last year probably the best leadership core I've ever had. Kirsten Hahn, Becca Campbell, Maggie Lloyd, just people that just got it, not just soccer-wise, but just, being able to lead others and saying the right things at the right time and doing the right things. And so that would be my answer to that.
A lot of the highlights we've shown here from last year's squad, a lot of offensive highlights. The goals are much more enjoyable to watch than saves. Unfortunately for Leanne Trudell, we like to see the goals versus the shots. But then again, the number of shots that were allowed by your squad was so low. You didn't allow opportunities, and you can't score if you don't get a shot, obviously. So how would you look at that team, the defensive? We've seen a lot of the offensive prowess of that squad, but defensively, probably one of the best maybe in SoCon history to go down last year.
Yeah, it was – when you're in the moment, at least as a coach for me, you get caught up in the next game. And I didn't pay attention to a lot of the things that were going on until after the season. After the season, looking back at it, I was just amazed. I mean, I couldn't believe some of the things we accomplished in terms of that. I mean, breaking a SoCon record in shutouts. I don't know women's soccer's been in SoCon 30-plus years. Certainly setting some records within our own program, but the defensive side of the ball hook, I mean, scoring 54 goals is unbelievable, but only allowed 11 and 1 in conference plays. Because you know our league. I mean, you watch our games. Our league is very good, very competitive, and to only give up one game in conference plays, ludicrous.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that teams that draw Southern Conference squads, when you go to that NCAA tournament, they're not thinking, oh, wow, here we got a cakewalk, we're on to the next round. They know they have to earn it. And, of course, Sanford proved that, again, a tough matchup last year, and we did the year before. playing people tough. They'd have to earn it. They don't just get to cakewalk into the next round with that. So you mentioned earlier, first of all, you mentioned Kristen Hahn's name before we go on to this year. Pretty good honor for her in the fact that she is the Southern Conference and a Western Carolina nominee for NCAA Woman of the Year. That takes into consideration what you did in the classroom, what you did on the pitch, but also what you did in your community. And talk about her and what that means just to be nominated, to be among the top of the top across the nation.
Yeah, just a prime example of what being a student athlete's all about. Soccer-wise, never was really rewarded as a starter in our program. Played a significant role every year, but never was a mainstay starter. And to be a leader in that scenario and maybe not get the reward all the time, I think is extremely powerful. Graduated biology, chemistry major, 3.9. Just got into vet school 2 months ago in Canada. That was her dream. Unbelievable person, unbelievable drive, and really was able to balance so many things all at one time. And she was, I don't know what her hours were that she had to get to apply to vet school, but just to be able to balance being a Division I athlete, get those grades, and do those clinical hours is just unbelievable.
So again, Kirsten Hahn up for NCAA Woman of the Year, a national honor. Again, as we sit here at Catamount Jaxe, as we talk our 2025 fall sports preview, we've looked back at the last year. You've had your squad here a little under a month. Can you define what this team is made up of in the early going, or is it still work in progress?
I asked them that in the first meeting every year. What's this team going to be about? Because every team's different. I mean, you have a core group that's returning from last year, but we just added 9 people into it. So that's key. Like, what are we going to be about? What are we going to stand for? The thing that stands out to me in preseason this fall is our leadership from our captains and our upperclassmen. Not really vocally, but just by example. They've came out every day in preseason and just worked their tails off, and really shown a lot of grit and a lot of determination, which is awesome. But I think we're still trying to figure that out, Hook. I think depth-wise, I think this team might be deeper than last year. That's saying a lot because last year a lot of our depth were 4- and 5-year seniors. I think our depth is younger, but talent-wise, I think our depth is really good. So that's something that we got to figure out. But, when you're returning the core group, as a coach, it gives you're able to sleep decent at night because they've been through the war, they've been through the battles, and they've proven themselves. And so that's something that I kind of base everything off of and then build from there. But, I like our group. I think they're working extremely hard. I think they're determined. Like I said in the beginning, my biggest challenge is keeping them level and hungry.
Well, speaking of that, you got a little more work to do since the preseason poll, and the all-conference teams came out earlier this afternoon. Only 9 people can vote. You can't vote for your own team, but all 9 of them voted for your squad to be first place. You see that on your screen there, well in front of Sanford, picked in second place. I'm sure the first place vote they got more than likely came from your vote. But you talk about 6 players. I don't know if we had 6 players in the history of our program combined prior to this year that have been on that preseason squad to talk about the depth of this league. Nothing against the players we've had, but it's just the depth of this league. But to have 6 out of 11, it's a lot of pressure on these young ladies, but I think they've all earned it. And again, 5 of them are upperclassmen seniors and one's a junior. So again, those individuals, you talk about the offensive prowess of Isabella DeMarco and Siska. You talk about Ava Robitelli being the defensive player of the year in the conference a season ago as a midfielder. Wasn't a defender, was in the midfield. And you talk about that defensive effort in front of Leanne Trudell, the job that she did with 12 shutouts, 14 combined for the squad. Mary Muth and Abby Wise were a big factor in that.
No question. And Abby and Mary weren't on the all-conference list. They made the all-tournament team last year. A little disappointed in that when the all-conference stuff came out because just what we had done. So obviously they got acknowledged in preseason. But for me, and then the message I'm going to send to the team is that's last year.
Right.
Like all those accolades are awesome. We celebrate them, but that's all based on last year. And so I hate preseason polls.
Yeah. Well, every coach I've ever talked to does.
I hate them. And it's great to be on top. I mean, it makes you feel good and makes you feel good about 2020, last year, 24, but it's 2025 now. And so that's my job. That's what we'll focus on is understanding. We'll celebrate that, but it means nothing really now.
Well,
so
congratulations to those 6 individuals.
Absolutely.
And again, talk about the reigning coach of the year here and the job that you've done with that squad and your assistant coaching staff. Again, you got the rings earlier. We talk about that ceremony. Had to feel good for that. coming after an exhibition win. You went 2-0 in your exhibition season. We're getting to see some of the highlights of that event from the other night. Again, Tyler Pope on the 1s and 2s there with that. But Chad Miller, again, you can see you don't look very comfortable in that situation. You know you like it. All the accolades being read, you're kind of like, okay, let's get to the brass tacks here. And all of a sudden, they start handing out rings, and the Chad Miller that loves each one of these players. Of course, Leanne Trudell tried to get out of there as quickly as possible. She doesn't really like the whole photo stuff. You had to make sure you got her in there. But, again, what was this ceremony like, again, with our first-year athletic director, Kyle Pfeiffer? Had to feel good for you to be able to celebrate, especially after you played so well in a 4-0 win there in that exhibition.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, anytime you can celebrate the work that they put in and the dedication that they have, I mean, it's worth celebrating, not only on the field, but what they do in a classroom and the people that they are. We talked to the seniors. They really wanted to do it in the exhibition to get it out of the way and kind of focus on the season, which I was massively in favor of. And, yeah, just a great moment for them and something they'll never forget. And, yeah, so now we're trying to do it again.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't get any easier, that's for sure. And you talk about a schedule. You're front-loaded here. You had a couple of exhibitions. You're front-loaded with a trio of home matches. And ironically enough, we're having this show tonight, a great opportunity to talk to the folks at home because we open up here on Thursday. Regular season gets underway before classes even start, and you got Appalachian State coming to town. You got to love that. Get a look at that schedule coming up here, and no better person to have on there than DeMarco. You look at the 2-0 so far. You don't count them, but the exhibition wins. Had to feel good. Had to get some good things, to see some good things out of there. Got a lot of people to play in those exhibitions, but then you've got those trio right there. And then, of course, another one circled there before this month is all said and done. You got on the road at NC State, and then, of course, you got part of that First Bank first weekend, part of football home weekend against Gardner-Webb. You've got Tennessee coming to town for a match under the lights. And, again, pretty tough start here. You talk about Sun Belt, you talk about Big South, and you got another Sun Belt coming in. So again, right out of the gates, you're going to be challenged pretty early.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, Hook, that I haven't told anybody besides my assistant.
And you're telling everybody at home.
Yeah,
now.
I'm telling everybody at home now. So 2023, I never thought we would win it. I thought we had a good team. I thought we'd be in contention. Sanford had 10 out of their 11 starters, fifth-year seniors. That group had won 9 championships.
Yeah.
And so in soccer schedule, we do it a year out. So for 2024, my goal was I thought that was a year that we could potentially be in consideration. So I was very
strategic.
That's it. Strategic about strategic about the schedule.
Yeah.
And I really wanted us to get on a roll early and get confident and build that into conference play.
Right.
So last year we did that. I mean, it worked out. We lost to Queens, which
you just beat 4-0.
Yeah,
kind of a revenge tour.
But even last year, I mean, we outshot them considerably. It was just a fluke game for us. Anyways, so going into this year, the mentality was totally different. Like I really, really wanted to challenge the group. So our out-of-conference schedule this year is way different than last year. Like we're playing – Lipscomb's won their league the last 4 years. Right. You got Tennessee, who probably will be a top 25 team when they roll in here.
A top 51 in terms of RPI right now, I think.
Yep. And then, I mean, ACC, NC State.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've upped the ante in our out-of-conference portion of the season because I really wanted to test this group and maybe, get knocked down a notch early on.
Yep.
And maybe we won't. Maybe we won't. But, I mean, the challenge is much greater this fall in the out-of-conference portion than it was last year. So I'm excited about it.
It feels like you could come out of your opening onslaught of matches, and if you're sitting at 500, you're still feeling pretty good about yourself. And I think a lot of that could be more about how you play, not so much the final result, but even how you play.
Correct.
Could really lead a lot into that. And, again, you got the veteran leadership. You've got some offensive mind, and I think you've got what looks to be, at least through the first 2 exhibitions we've been able to see, maybe more offense this year than what we've had. And, again, it's still the stout defense because I think we outshot both opponents sizably. And, again, not knowing what they had. And they're trying to look at different things. I think Queens ran all 3 goalkeepers out. We ran 2 out, I think, to try to get people some time and some live. You can't beat live reps. That's what every coach ever says is you can't beat that. So, again, I think the sky's the limit this year. We know the challenge is there, but it all gets underway against Appalachian State under the lights, and looking forward to that here. And when Western Carolina and Appalachian State, I don't care what they say in Boone, when those 2 squads get together, there's something special about it. Yeah. At least I feel.
No,
I don't know. Soccer's the same way.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game for me. I mean, maybe not the current players don't understand that, but they were our travel partner. I remember going up there in October, freezing my tail off, and miserable, hating every second of it.
Frozen field.
Yes.
Often.
So, I mean, it'll be a highly contested match. I mean, App plays a very similar style to us. They're not an overly slow possession type team. They want to get forward. They're very physical, and I think it'll be a very exciting game for a first game of the season.
And to see Isabella DeMarco not once but twice at least already here in the early part of the season bury breakaways. It took her about halfway through the season to get those going last year, and still was our top scorer in conference play. Of course, her and Siska kind of traded that back and forth, trying to see who was going to lead the team in overall scoring. But again, you've got so many great players coming back and just great individuals. Love the team, love the interaction with the team. And again, it was really good to see them have that opportunity to get those rings, get to wear those around a little bit, but then put them on the back burner, because I know we want to get one that has not only the regular season but also that tournament championship, and want to be able to host that. How big would that be to be able to host that event coming up at the end of the year, having that on your home turf?
Massive. I mean, we talked a lot about last year really being tough to beat at home. And some out of everything we did last year, probably the thing that I'm the most proud of is we went undefeated besides the championship, which was heartbreaking. But to be able to defend our home turf is a key ingredient for our success. And then having the opportunity to host a tournament. I mean, it's a really tough place to play. We've proven that. And to be able to play at home in the tournament's just extra special. And you were there. I mean, those 2 championships for a women's soccer game on our campus was just special. I mean, special.
I've only seen that stadium that full multiple times over the last handful of years, but prior to that, it was maybe homecoming that we had against Charleston, where they came to town, and we had all the homecoming festivities were there. They were there for homecoming, not for soccer. Now everybody's there for soccer, and everything else is just secondary and tertiary. But again, Coach, we really appreciate your time. I know it's short. We could sit here and talk all night long about the job that you've done and the efforts your players are putting in. You know, you get a lot of the accolades, but they do a lot of the work.
And again,
just love the effort, and looking forward to it. Again, Thursday gets things underway under the lights. Again, on ESPN Plus. Hope you'll tune in if you can't make it out to Catamount Country. So again, Coach, wish you the best of luck this year, and I'll have you back. We'll bring that championship back out. We did that a couple times. I like bringing the trophy and put it right here front and center. What do you say we do that one more time this year? Keep it going.
That'd be awesome.
All right.
Look forward to that.
Chad Miller, head soccer coach. Our filibuster continues as we talk fall sports. We're off and running literally, and up next, we'll continue running. We'll have Jesse Norman, Catamount Cross Country. They're getting running just pretty soon here. We'll have them up next as we continue your Catamount Fall Sports Preview for 2025, presented by Stanberry Insurance, live on location from Catamount Jaxe. Back right after this.
Now, what does it mean to live Western?
Set.
As promised, off and running with our 2025 Fall Sports Preview presented by Stanberry Insurance, live from Catamount Jaxe. Make sure next time you come to the Cullowhee Valley, you head over here to Catamount Jaxe, grab a couple of drinks, go throw some axes, get that going on. Jesse is an expert axe thrower. He'll be giving out lessons later on, I think, if we want to stick around.
Maybe. He's
got the mountain man beard going on, so we want to get that as we're joined by Jesse Norman. And, of course, Stanberry Insurance, 45 years, since 1980. I don't think you were born yet.
1 year.
1 year? Okay. So Stanberry Insurance outdates you by 1 year, I guess. So, but since 1980, 45 years, they've been backing the Catamounts and supporting Catamount athletics and also the area, our community, and all across the Southeast. Make sure you give them a call. Let them take a chance at giving you a quote on your life, your business, your health, your auto, your car, your pet insurance. If you want a little bunny foo-foo wants to get some insurance, Kevin Stanberry can take care of you. He specializes in little dog insurance, I hear. But make sure you give Stanberry Insurance a call. Again, they've been back in the Catamounts since 1980. Online at stanberry-ins.com. So, again, appreciate the job that they do, appreciate, again, for Catamount Jaxe hosting us once again here for this show and for Catamount Football Weekly all fall long coming up. We're joined by our head coach, the busiest man, the busiest coach. I've been lobbying for a pay raise ever since he got here because he is the busiest man. He hasn't one team, he has 6. Men's and women's cross country, men's and women's indoor, and men's and women's outdoor track and field. And, of course, he's the only Catamount to ever win an individual Southern Conference championship in cross country for now. We're heading that direction.
Let's hope.
Let's talk about last year. You guys finished off really, really strong. And, again, that second place finish, the best you've had since, I think, 2002. Thereabouts, when you were third place, right about the time. Might have been your senior year, or might have been the year after you left.
My senior year, we were third both years.
Yeah, so again, the third place. So you got second last year. You're starting to push that envelope a little bit. The women were starting to come along. I really think your women's squad in the distance events in the track and field season really made some moves. Peyton Skoglund and Catherine Hopkins both made a lot of moves, I think, late in your outdoor season. But what are you looking from last year? What do you take from that second place finish and the improvements you made on your women's side? What are you taking to this year from that?
Yeah, I think on the guy side, when you look at that and being second place, it's, that was last year's results. We have got a lot of kids that graduated last year that were a big part of that, are no longer in a program, and so we had to kind of reboot the whole program on the men's side. And we brought in some really, really talented guys, but it's their opportunity to kind of show up. You never know. We're going to have a lot of freshmen that we're going to be dependent on. So it's freshmen. You never know what they're going to get. They're going from a 5K to a 8K distance. So sometimes that transition can be really tough, and sometimes it can be really easy.
You guys, you talk about Drew Zink, one of the guys we saw crossing the finish line in the highlights there, one of your finishers that is no longer with you, but the job that he did, 5th in the 8K in terms of his school record book. So he finished his year strong and hopefully bled over onto the Chase Thurbers and the Lawson Meekums that are coming back this year. Those guys were able to see that level, what it takes to get to that level, and where he started to where he finished, I think was a really good learning curve for those two to come in and lead your squad as two of your veterans.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's one of the things that we're going to be leaning on is, the Chases, the Lawsons, Walmacks of the world, like all those returners. Like we're going to be leaning into them to kind of help lead these freshmen. And I think the guys are really excited about it. Justin Hayes, talk about that whole group. Like they're all super excited about leading these freshmen to kind of help us keep second place or even get better. Yeah,
you talked about your recruiting class seemed to be maybe a little more distance heavy than we've had in years past. I know we've always been a school that what you're going to get on the track. You're going to get your sprinters, you're going to get your hurdlers, we're going to get your pole vaulters. We were pole vault U for so many years there here in the field events. But the distance event, we're starting to grab some more points there, and I think having those two, and I mentioned Peyton Skoglund and Catherine Hopkins, two of the individuals that are back, but you got 5 back that were among your top finishers in the conference.
Yeah, definitely. I think the efforts that we had, the team finishes that we had and stuff like that really kind of made it easy for me to recruit on the guy side in particular. And we just knew as we were looking at last year's or this year's recruiting class, like we knew we needed to hit like the men's distance program hard. We need to be able to kind of replace the John Davises and Henrys and Wills and Drews and all those kind of kids. They were big points that we had to replace. So we kind of really hit that ground hard on that side. And then, on the women's sprint side, like that was another area where we had to really fill some talent. And so those were kind of the 2 areas that we really hit hard on the recruiting front. And I think you see that in the recruiting efforts.
With kind of the change in rev share and the difference in the roster sizes and some of the proposals that are out there all the time with track and field, how is that going to affect your roster? Because it's gone the gamut. Take everybody, run everybody, get as many points as you can, then to the limits on who you can take, and then you got to be really picky and choosy on who's going to run the 400, who's going to run the 200, who's going to be in your sprint. How does that affect you? The roster limits, have they changed, at least in track and field? Well, the cross country has kind of been very similar over the years, but how has that affected track and field?
I think really what we're seeing is we are getting level of access to an athlete that we haven't been able to get before. We're recruiting guys that, like on the distance side, sticking with the cross country theme, that are better than even the guys that we got on the team right now. They just run the gamut of 4:13 to 4:17 in a mile, and I think stuff like that's going to be more of the norm. We're talking to guys in the 800 that have run 152 to 155. We got some pretty high standards. We can't even really talk to you anymore. The John Davises and the Henrys of the world, I went in this day and age, I couldn't recruit them. I couldn't take a chance on developing them for 2-3 years. We got to get more of those ready-made athletes.
And it's so funny to hear you say something along those lines. When I talked with Chad Miller, he said, looking back, we've recruited a lot of talent, and I think, again, success begets success. Winning back-to-back championships, it makes you a lot more attractive when you start talking to those high school recruits. But he said oftentimes it's the individuals that we take a chance on that have proven to be the ones that go out and earn it above and beyond. So, again, taking a chance on some, being able to get the higher caliber, and, again, with the change in college athletics, I think that has been something that's felt all the way across. And, we talked with Chad Miller. He opens up Appalachian State here this week. You guys open up like you did a year ago where you had some success, Covered Bridge Open, going up to the high country.
Yep.
What do you see out of that event? Again, a smaller cross-country schedule. Yep. Is that by design? I think 3 regular season before you get into conference and you get into regional. Is it by design with the youth of your squad and trying to take more time to develop in terms of getting the practice time versus the competitions?
Yeah, I think I've found out over the last few years, kind of with the training program that I set up, we do really good when we kind of race and then have a big block of training and then kind of get back in the race. And, a couple years back, I tell everybody and recruits and stuff, I feel like I'm pretty good at noticing trends. And I started noticing a trend that when I look back at the season that our best meet seemed to always be the second meet after that big break of training. And so before, they used to always happen at Upstate, and then the third meet was the conference championships. And so kind of was like, hey, guys, I'm thinking about shifting our schedule. So we kind of race, week off, race, big block training, race, then conference. And we did that last year was the first time that we did it. And lo and behold,
it kind of proved,
it proved. So I think that's kind of what we're going to stick with right now. Maybe I'm doing something crazy on training and stuff like that. But, if it works right now for the scenario and situation we're in, let's roll with it.
And you talk about that second event being the one you thought would be the one. Pretty good that you get to go up to Charlottesville, Virginia. Pretty sure that's the site of the regional. So maybe get an opportunity on the course to, again, that'll be from your second to your fifth in terms of the actual regional. So, again, mad scientist Jesse playing here and planning ahead?
No, I mean, I kind of chatted with the kids, and I was like, we had a couple different options of what we could do for that weekend, and I was like, with Charlottesville hosting the regional, and kudos to our guys. Like, the first Zoom that we had this summer, they were like, this is our goal. We don't want to just hope that we get to regionals. I put a standard on what the team's got to do or an individual to qualify, and they were like, we don't want to just hope that we're going to get there. We're going to plan that we're going to get there. So let's go to UVA, get a preview of the course, so that when we go back there for regionals, we're ready to go.
And you also mentioned, of course, going to the Upstate. That seems to be one that we normally run well. When you run from the mountains into a little more foothills, it might make a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like you're running downhill a little bit.
Yeah. And that course is, it's actually kind of got some good rollers on it, and it's a pretty good course, and I think our kids have kind of figured out how to actually run it. I'm at the point where I'm like, I want to change the schedule and do something a little bit different, but that's one of the meets where our kids are like, no, do not change that. We like going there, so I'll roll with the kids.
And then, of course, a new venue for your conference championship this year, a little bit of midsummer shuffling, as it were, but Mill Springs is going to be the championship?
Yeah, so that's going to be over at the Tryon Equestrian Center. So
Run like horses.
Yeah, run like horses. So they've got this huge property that's over there, and they got this old Arnold Palmer golf course, I guess it is, that went under, and the horse complex people bought it. And so I'm working with Ben Paxton. We've been out there a couple times, and then Adam Pewitt over at UNC Asheville. We kind of went out there and laid out a course, and me and Paxton went out there a couple weeks back and kind of finally got everything situated. It's going to be a good course. I think it's going to be kind of surprisingly difficult. I think you're going to go and try to kick at the end, and you're going to be like, ooh, my legs are a little bit more tired.
I'm a little gone, yeah.
Yeah, because you look at it and there's no real big hills in it. There's just some little rollers here and there. It's got 3 bridges that you'll cross over. There's one on the guys' course that's right before the mile mark that comes back behind the start line, and it's actually pretty cool. It's going to be neat.
Bridges and elbows, those are always the things you got to watch out for, right?
Yeah,
when you get into cross country.
Yeah, especially on the start. I think about 600 meters into it, you cross the first bridge, and then you make a hard left. So, there's going to be some elbows thrown.
What is that,
there.
Bernoulli's principle? You're going to take a wide waterfall start and try to squeeze it into the cat door and try to squeeze across that bridge. So that's going to be, if you're going to watch an event, maybe be around that bridge and have your cameras ready, because there probably could be some fireworks. I will liken it maybe to the steeplechase. Everybody loves to watch people jump into the water.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit like that.
That's my favorite event during the distance seasons is watching the steeplechase, especially when it's 40 degrees outside and there's a little thin layer of ice on top of the water there. Those are always the fun. But, Coach, we wish you the best of luck as we continue here. And, again, looking forward to that. Looking to build. And I think last year, a lot of good success for your program. And like I said, I really felt like your distance on the women's side made big strides there in that outdoor season that really helped out, that I think they can carry over. And, of course, your men's team coming off that runner-up finish, it got to be a lot of confidence going into this fall. Yeah, definitely. I think it's, like you said, it's just, our women need to take the next step. And we got a lot of sophomores and juniors that are pretty good. And if they can all kind of take that next step with our seniors and, Ashlyn, our lone freshman that we brought in this year, we can be pretty good on the women's side. And, hopefully I hope the women are kind of wanting to not be overshadowed by the guys anymore. I want to step into the limelight a little bit. Yeah, lone freshman, no pressure with the upperclassmen, and you got to try to go out and perform. No pressure. No, but I know she'll step to it. So, and speaking of our next step, we'll continue on. We'll talk volleyball as we head inside Ingles Court at the Ramsey Center. We'll talk with Western Carolina head volleyball coach Kerwin Glover as we continue on our 2025 Fall Sports Preview, our Catamount Coaches Show, presented by Stanberry Insurance and live from Catamount Jaxe. Don't go anywhere. Back with Kerwin Glover on the other side of this quick timeout.
We live here and grow here, Catamount Country. At WCU, you can lead the way or lend a hand. You can wander, create, inspire, connect, and dare. The only thing you can't do here is go it alone. However you show up here, we'll show up for you. And then you can show us what it means to live Western.
How do I look?
Well, we got Kerwin Glover back here, and everybody says she looks great, right, Kerwin? Western Carolina head volleyball coach, longest tenured coach on staff now. Maybe right behind me in terms. I think he might be.
I think Chad Miller has me.
Well, all right, you and Chad. Well, you guys can duke it out later. We'll go throw axes later and figure out who's got that. But we continue with our 2025 Fall Sports Preview presented by Stanberry Insurance. Again, online, stanberry-ins.com. Make sure you give them a call. Anything that you want to get covered, let them give you a quote. See what they can do for you when you're making your decision on what insurance to go with. They've been supporting the Southeast and, of course, Western Carolina Athletics since 1980. Make sure you get a look at what they can do for you. An outstanding job and a great sponsor and great supporter and great friends of the Catamount program. Again, back at the Catamounts, a lot of great insurance agencies in our area that all support Catamount Athletics. But, again, Stanberry Insurance, they present our show here each and every time out, so we appreciate the job that they do. And, of course, we are live on location at Catamount Jaxe. Again, we're going to go throw axes later on. Karen's going to throw axes at me because she hates headphones, says they mess up her hair.
That's right.
Coach,
That's right.
Let's look at what you got coming this year with your squad. You've had a couple of weeks. You got to come in a little bit earlier this year, a little extra time to work with the squad. And I will say this, the volleyball scavenger hunt, there's only been a couple of teams that have found me. And I told the group today, I said, now look, I told the last group that I wouldn't sign any more of these. And one of the players got angry with me, and I didn't know. It was one of the freshmen, too. Hit me with a bruh. Really? So, anyway, love that you do, to send them around the athletic department. But, again, looking from last year, carrying into this year, you got some replacing to do. And you got a very young squad. Make sure you have your roster card when you come to the first couple of matches because there's a lot of new faces. Bailey Hartso, Sarah Yanarova, Ollie Henderson, gone from this year's squad. 3 of your leaders from a year ago.
Right.
Who have you seen that's stepping up now, and who's taking that leadership role on that you need to see that grow here this season?
I think the juniors and seniors that we have on the team are doing a really good job of taking everyone under their wing and making sure that the freshmen and sophomores, the sophomores been here a year, but now they've grown a little bit, but that the freshmen really know what their responsibility is, what their role is, what our standards are, what their attitude needs to be like, what their work ethic needs to be like. And the freshmen have come in and been great. Like, they're eager to learn. They work really hard. They're competitive, as you saw. And they want to be successful. So I think it's a really good mentality that we have right now.
And not only that, but they've got to be, because the upperclassmen have got to be leaders because they're outnumbered. You talk about, 2 seniors and 3 juniors, I believe, on your 15. You have the most are freshmen, 6, I believe, freshmen that are coming in. One of the youngest, if not the youngest, in terms of overall in the conference, maybe second, tied for first, around there. One of the younger squads, but the good thing about freshmen is a lot of times they don't know what they don't know. They don't know to be nervous in situations. And I love the fact that it was a freshman that challenged me, an administrator there in the office. But, again, all in jest and all in good fun. But it seems like a really good group. And I see them together a lot there inside the Ramsey Center. Have you noticed that dynamic starting to build? And, again, so much of what you do during the year starts during preseason.
Yeah. I mean, I think our team culture is really good. We've been focused on that a lot. It's been nice to have these few extra days for preseason, not only just for the training part that we don't have to jam so much into a short period of time, but we get to have a little bit more time to work through. Like, we have our book club, and so we're reading a book that we're talking about every couple of days and have some time to really talk about, what is our team culture? Who are we? What do we expect out of leaders? Be able to meet with people. We've done some things with Brian Boyer. Everybody loves working with him. We had a professor come and give a presentation to our team on empathy and some different stuff, and so it's just been a really cool preseason.
You talk about your 2 seniors that are stepped up, and you really need them to step up in a big way at the net because they're 2 of your best blockers. When you talk about Sammy Jo McCoskey and Janelle Blue, who are 2 of the better ones in the league, in my opinion, being able to get there, good size, good athletic ability. Those 2 leaders stepping up, and then you've got in your back end, you've got some players that are helping out on the defensive side. You talk about Yalcin Kaya from Turkey, when she comes in with Etta, and of course Katie Bonney, who kind of Boney really distributes the ball for you as a setter. Those 4 returners are among the ones that saw the bulk of the action. I think you got Haley in there at the libero position some last year, and Zoe was in there offensively. What do you look at out of those leaders? What are they, for you to be successful, what are those individuals, the 4 that we just mentioned, the upperclassmen, what do they need to do?
Really, it's a part of enforcing our standards and holding everyone accountable for our standards. And that's what we're talking about, of just like, hey, if we're doing a drill and the goal of the drill is you got to get a good pass in order to score, and they score, but the pass isn't great, to be like, really, was that a good pass? Like, is that the standard that we're okay with? And they're like, no, we need better. And I think that's the important part when you start holding people accountable to, like, yeah, I know we might have won that point, but that's not good enough. That's not how we want to execute. So let's get back out here and execute and do it better this time.
Sort of those player-led practices almost, those player policing players, as opposed to the coaching having to do it, the players being able to do it. Is that what you're kind of alluding to?
Right. I think that's the important part, is just it shows what kind of standards we have in our gym, and I think that's great that they can do that.
We talked about coaching staff and being new. Meant to start with this. You've got some new folks on the sidelines and about to have even more new folks joining you on the sidelines as we hear. But Paige Shaw coming in, joining your coaching staff there. What does she bring to this dynamic? Again, has been here for a few months. What does she bring to your dynamic?
It's just been nice. She's played at a really high level as an outside hitter, and so to be able to bring that offensive mindset to our program is really good. It'll probably be the first time I haven't really coached the outsides in a while, so they're going to get a different perspective on things too, but I just think it's great. And her personality is complementary to mine, so that's nice too. I've enjoyed that, and she's just been good. If she's kind of just direct to the point, kind of straightforward, shoot from the hip and go.
Yeah, and Katie Butler joined your staff as an assistant there as well, and again played at Rhode Island, so she brings in another high level of competition as a player, bringing that into you as well.
Yeah, and she'll be able to work with our setters, which is just going to be nice. But she's a little feisty, a little fiery going on right now. So she's figuring it out. But we're excited.
Greg Hartledge is scared of her. I do know that much.
Well, the ironic part is I actually recruited both of these players.
Yeah.
And they both turned me down the first time.
Well, they turned you down when it was a scholarship, but when it came to a paycheck, they accepted.
There
I
you
think
go.
so. What's more important than that, as it turns out? But again, you talk about that. Look at your schedule, coach, and right out of the gate, you're going to challenge yourself. You're going to Boca Raton. Oh my gosh, it's such a challenge to be a volleyball player at Western Carolina, making trips down to Boca. But you have some tough competition, really stiff competition coming up. You want to challenge yourself early, but you also understand you guys are going to be on the road a lot. You're going to be the road warriors. You've got an exhibition coming up on not this Friday, but the following Friday. Only one home match in terms of in our home gym through the first almost month of the season.
Yeah.
Well-traveled, well-versed. There's a look at the schedule, and good look at Katie as she's standing there. But you talk about that. Of course, it is a big one. It's UNC Asheville. We'll talk about the Blue Ridge Volleyball Classic after that, but challenging yourself with some Big 12 competition and some right out of the gates.
Yeah. I mean, it's always fun just to go see what you can do right out there. It's good to have a variety of competition to prepare yourself for conference play.
Talk about that Blue Ridge Volleyball Classic. Is going to be held over at the Harris Cherokee Center in Asheville, and will be the site this year. We're determined will be the site of our conference championship over in Asheville. Of course, obviously everything dealing with Hurricane Helene a season ago, and that venue turned in such a great central hub to help Western North Carolina understand that all. Obviously, we were all disappointed. We were looking forward to having volleyball in a neutral site. It's been home sites for so many years. Really looking forward to that neutral site. This year we're going to get it, but getting in that gym, getting in that arena to play, hoping that might give you a little bit of an edge when it comes to November 21st and the 23rd.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be great to be able to have some experience and play in that gym and get a feel for what it's like ahead of time. I also just think it's great to, even though we couldn't, we're on the road. The first 4 weeks of volleyball is tournament. We haven't been able to host a tournament here, but at least to get one in Asheville, that's close. So our fans can see us. We're not too far from home. It kind of gives us a feel of a home tournament without being too far away. So we're excited for that. I think the volleyball community in Asheville is just growing, and so we're happy that they want to do these kind of things and are going to be the home of the conference championship.
I was definitely going to bring up the volleyball community in Asheville. Yeah. It's known for its soccer community over recent years. It's known for that, but the volleyball community here in Western North Carolina has really stepped up in the last handful of years, and I think you talk about some of the really good teams that are in Asheville, Buncombe, Henderson County, really good volleyball in that part of the country over there, and having this, I think, will be a good showcase. We're being the local team, bringing in Bradley's coming in. Of course, we have Bradley coming into town, College of Charleston, and Charlotte coming up the mountain. So, again, that's a nice competitive field. It's some winnable matches in there for everybody. I think a good opportunity, good competitive matches as it turns out, and again, being in that venue, it's so different, I think, than what a lot of people play in. Now, maybe the Ramsey Center might be comparable, but some of the gyms we play in are not comparable to what this is going to be for that championship.
Right. Yeah, I just think it's going to be a great experience for them, and it'll be cool to have that, kind of in the front end instead of just, in the first time and try to be overwhelmed by it. And
you guys are looking forward to a scrimmage exhibition coming up inside the friendly confines of the Ramsey Center on the 22nd on that Friday. And then you'll get your regular season underway, and then you're back here that first week of September 9th, I believe, for UNC Asheville. Is that what I saw on the screen? I think that's what we had. Looking forward to that. And then you're on the road again. So you'll make a pit stop at home, change clothes, repack the suitcase, and hit the road again. But we wish you the best of luck. And again, how important is it? We talk about this. We haven't talked about it with other coaches so far, but being at home, playing and having that home court advantage and being able to win your home matches, how important is that, to have that atmosphere? We've broken the attendance at home time after time after time the last handful of years. How important is that for a program to have that support, and especially with the young players seeing that purple and gold support?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge when you have a bunch of fans yelling and screaming and going crazy in the Ramsey Center. It's just nice. And it's especially fun when we have a lot of students that have fun with it. And, some of the promotional things that have gone on have been entertaining, and costume contests and or even just color themes and stuff like that. But trying to get those people in there and yelling and screaming so they can have a good time, because they know that you always play better when you got people behind you that are supporting you.
And, of course, the Catamount cabin there in the end zone. It's the takeoff of
spike zone.
Yeah, the spike zone.
The spike zone. Come on.
It's a takeoff of what we have here with the cabin theme for basketball. It's the spike zone where your drinks are not spiked. The volleyball is.
Volleyball is spiked.
We look forward to that. Again, that's just a great addition there, of course, with basketball and for volleyball. It kind of adds a little added dimension. I'm not sure many people in our conference have that type of environment at times. So I think we're building.
I think it's great. We love the spike zone. We think it's awesome.
Yeah.
People are sitting up there.
And a young squad. How many times if you want to go down there and just coach from there, or just go sit and watch and let them play?
I know. I was like,
maybe in the exhibition you ought to try that.
All right, I'll just hang out.
You just go sit down there and enjoy the view.
I'll just sit and tell everyone what I'm thinking while we're in there and let them play.
No, we'll put you on TV and let you do it. How about that?
All right, we'll do it.
Coach, wish you the best of luck this year. Obviously a young squad, but a very talented group, I believe, coming in.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of growing to do, but I think you're going to get them going in the right direction. You and Coach Shaw and Katie are going to have them going in the right direction as we get ready for the season coming up. And don't forget to make your plans to go over to Asheville. I think it's going to be an interesting atmosphere. It's going to be different than what we've experienced in a lot of volleyball with that tournament in a bigger venue like that. So I think it's going to be an experience.
No, I think it'll be great.
Looking forward to that. That's head coach Karen Glover. As we talk Catamount volleyball, we're going to go from inside the Ramsey Center. We're going to step outside, and we're going to go to E.J. Whitmire Stadium and Bob Waters Field. We're going to talk Catamount football with the old ball coach, Kerwin Bell, when we come back as we continue with our 2025 Fall Sports Preview presented by Stanberry Insurance, live on location from Catamount Jaxe, right here in the heart of Catamount Country. Don't go anywhere.
Now, what does it mean to live Western?
Set.
We live here and grow here, Catamount Country. At WCU, you can lead the way or lend a hand. You can wander, create, inspire, connect, and dare. The only thing you can't do here is go it alone. However you show up here, we'll show up for you. And then you can show us what it means to live Western.
Well, we continue with our 2025 Fall Sports Preview here from Catamount Jaxe, and we're going to talk with the old ball coach, Kerwin Bell, as we talk Catamount football. Again, our Fall Sports Preview presented by Stanberry Insurance. 3 locations, Waynesville, Silva, and Highlands. Online at stanberry-ins.com. Make sure you give them a call. They've been back in the Catamount since 1980. 45 years of service. Make sure you give them a call. Drop them an email. Let them give you a quote on what you're looking for with your insurance. Of course, we're live on locations right here at Catamount Jaxe. This is the home of Catamount Football Weekly, where this guy and I will sit every Monday night starting August 25th all the way through January. Right, Coach? We're going to have these shows all the way through. We're not going to stop. Kids are going to leave for Christmas break, but we're going to keep going because we're going to be playing on in the FCS playoffs. This is the year. Coach, got to start the conversation, as we've done with most of our coaches, looking back. And, of course, last year kind of developed this year's hashtag, no excuses. I know standing in that room watching the selection show a year ago, I know the disappointment. We felt like our resume, you look at it up and down, I think it matched up with just about anybody in that tournament field a season ago. And the disappointment from that, but has led to build. I think it led through the offseason, led through summer, and now into fall camp. No excuses. What does that mean to you, and how has last year helped motivate this squad?
Well, you know, we were very disappointed in the situation and not getting put in as a clear number 2 team in our conference.
Right.
A really good conference, the SoCon, and to not have us called was disappointing. But, you know, as we come back from the break, Christmas break, we had to really look at ourselves honestly and say we didn't get it done. Hook, you know, we were leading in 4. It's not like you were getting blown out these games and didn't have a chance. I mean, we were leading in 4 of those games in the fourth quarter.
Including NC State.
Yeah, one being an FBS team, one being out in Montana where they never lose at their home field.
Yeah, we know why they never lose.
We're up 24-7 there, lose in the fourth quarter, have the lead in the fourth quarter. Mercer were up 24-7, have the lead in the fourth quarter, lose that game, lose to ETSU in the fourth quarter. So, listen, we had to look at ourselves and say, we just hadn't got it done. Some of that's experience. Some of it's, some, I think, tough luck with some of our injuries late in the season. So, listen, we tried to every day go to work, and, that no excuses was – we can't blame anybody but ourselves. We got to put in the work during the off season, get bigger, faster, stronger, so we don't have those injuries hopefully this year, that we do stay a little bit healthier this year and able to finish those games better and finish the season better than what we have in the past.
Well, I was looking at that again leading through, and how has that gone through, again, your off-season training? I think summer, you and I have talked offline that summer might have been one of the most beneficial times for this squad coming in with the turnover, with the transfer portal, in the day and age of college football. That summer access was premier.
Yeah, it goes to Kyle, our AD, and Chancellor. She's so big on helping athletics, and have our guys here all summer is just so beneficial for us and for our football program. And now with the portal, and you get these new guys in, it just gives you another opportunity to get those guys ready for camp. And I feel like we've made the most of that, and I feel like these first 12 days of camp that we've been in have been really good for us. Our new guys have really came in and are starting to pick up the things that we ask them to be good at, and offensively, defensively, and in the special teams game. So really ahead of where we wanted to be, and hopefully we'll continue having a great camp. We got to get some guys back healthy like always to start the season, but we feel like if we got these 10 more days here at camp, we need to make the most of them, and hopefully we'll do that.
I think you've called them opportunities and take advantage of every opportunity that your squad has going out. And do say hello to William Hamby. I know he's been chomping at the bit. I haven't heard from him a couple of times, wanting to know when's the next coaches show, when's Kerwin going to be on, and now have him on there. Somebody call Gus Sanez, make sure he's up and watching. Yeah, make sure he's tuned in. Getting Aaron back is going to be something I think is going to benefit that offensive line. But let's talk about Media Day, Coach. Again, back at the end of July, seems like forever and a day ago that we were down in Greenville, South Carolina. But you talk about a team that was picked in the top 3 in the Southern Conference. Might have been a little disappointed that we weren't there at number 2 as we finished the year, and a good number of all-conference guys as well. So, again, talk about that day at Media Day. A lot went into it. Great experience, and again, you got to be in front of the camera. You got to be in front of the walls. And, again, talking Catamount football, it's just always fun.
Well, I think we're starting to gain respect in our conference, but, we hadn't done it yet. Like I said earlier, we hadn't finished the fight, and we've got to prove people wrong, and we've got to go out and do that. Third is fine with us. It don't matter where you start. It's where you finish.
Yep.
We've got to go prove it, right? There's other teams in this conference. All of them have won conference championships. We hadn't done that. So it's left up to us. Again, it's us against really everybody that's not in our room. That's the way we're looking at it. And we're going to try to go give it our best shot. All the little things that we've looked at in the prior seasons, we're trying to make sure that we correct those mistakes. And I think one of those big things is, like you said, we do have a lot of guys. Had them on the all-conference team. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those guys on defense are veteran guys, 4-year guys, 5-year guys. And so I think that experience over there, they've been through some tough ups and downs the last couple of years. I think that, along with just adding some new players that have a lot of great experiences, they'll really help us be the most balanced football team we have been since I've been here. And what I mean by that, I think offensively, defensively, special teams, youth, athletic ability, experience. I think if we put our team together and you look at all those things, I think we've got as balanced as a football team. Our staff's now been, mostly all of them 2 years now. No new coordinators. So I just think we're in a position we got to make the most of it. And it's not going to be easy by no means. This is a tough conference. But I feel like we got a chance to go do some special things this year.
Yeah, we saw Caleb Fisher actually started out the winning for you this year as he won the bowling competition with the players. We won't talk about Micah's score. I told him I'd never bring that up again. That's time I'm going to talk about it. But Caleb won that competition between the players as, again, they were able to get together on that Monday night ahead of the Tuesday event. Preseason polls, Coach, I know for you, you don't look at them, you don't care about them. It's us media types that talk about them. But getting some respect, again, 18th in the FCS Top 25, Stats Perform FCS Top 25. You talk about the AFCA Coaches Poll came out today. We're notoriously never in that one for whatever reason. I don't think they like you much, Coach, around the league.
Yeah.
19th in that poll, and, of course, FCS Nation Radio had a 16th in their poll. They had 4 teams at the last poll. That FCS Nation Radio had us 4 teams from the conference inside the poll, so that was a big to see from our league. But, again, like you said, it's not where you start. It matters where you finish. But I think it does matter. Oftentimes, we start talking about the top 24 teams that make it into the postseason. If you're inside that top 25 to start the year, that kind of weighs on the minds of people as well. Obviously, it's what you do throughout the year, but again, I think it does help to be starting inside that top 25. And again, a tough schedule to come up, an opening right out of the gates with Gardner-Webb, but a tough schedule for you this year before you even get to conference play.
Yeah, just like always, I thought last year was really tough for us. And again, this year, Gardner-Webb at home, then we go to Wake Forest, and then Elon, which is a really good football team too, at home. So, we got to come out the gates really hot, and nothing's going to be easy. Nothing's going to be given to us just because we're ranked or whatever. You got to go prove it on the field. We got to be we're a talented football team. We got enough talent to go compete. I think there's no question about that. So now let's look at the next phase. And what that is do we have that do we have that grind, that ability to hang in tough games and win those things? And we've been preaching it the whole off season. I thought Coach Bates, our strength and conditioning guy, has really put them to the test. He's made them grind all off season, and I think our guys are ready to go prove that we're a tough football team, physically and mentally, and I think that's what it's going to take for us to be successful this year. And
I do think we passed the eye test a little bit in some other places now where we were a little light in the back end. Talking to Coach Oda, because you know what? I love the guys we had last year, but when you're lining up tackles at 265 to 285, we're lining up guys that are 300 or more. Big Jermichael. Slim, as I like to call him.
340 and 320.
Yeah, those guys. You got guys that are a little more size, a little more junk in the trunk there to help on that stop the run. You got the athleticism, you got the speed there in the secondary that you're able to do. You talk about a Ken Moore coming back. You got Samari Dukes that's back for you. You talk about a guy like Hayward McQueen, who might be the most underrated linebacker in the Southern Conference. I don't think he gets the accolades because I think we rotate so many guys.
Yeah.
He's not getting 80, 90 snaps a game. He's getting 40, 45. So I think that weighs into the number of tackles that he ends up with. But I think we passed the eye test a little more, both offensive line, defensive line. Receivers have got some size to them as well, so I think that really adds into it as well.
Well, I think we have done better, and I think one thing is, as you develop, we sometimes tend to take a guy, if he's FBS looking talent-wise, then we'll just nurture him along as far as gaining weight and getting bigger, and we'll try to develop him, in a year or two and just keep adding weight to him. So when we had to play those guys early, like the Samaris and Haywoods and all that, they were probably not quite ready to play, and they probably got beat up a lot, and that was probably where we had a lot of injuries because they weren't quite the size they needed to be, but they were good football players. But now I think this year you have those older guys that have got the maturity, that their bodies are developed, and they're where they need to be. So, I think that's going to be a big key for us defensively, is that we've got a lot of guys that we can put in there, and we can rotate a lot of good players, which I think will keep us fresh. I think the big key for us, if we can really improve on the defense side, like I think we will, the offensive line's naturally, I think, as athletic and as size, as powerful as we've ever had. Now, we got to be able to go do that. We got to put 5 guys out there that can be as good as we've been in the past, protect our quarterback, get our running game a little bit better than what it's been in the past. Give us a little bit more balance. I think if we do that, then we've got a chance to be really good.
Yeah, I think you talk about the Stephen Hamby's, the people that may not know a lot about. People haven't seen a whole lot out of him, but you got the Aaron Sanez back from injury a year ago. You bring in Zach Watson, who got to see a lot of time. Again, sometimes injuries, bad in the moment, but spell good things in the future. A lot of guys that got some reps a year ago that may or not have been out there if you'd stayed 100% healthy start to finish, guys like that. And then you bring in guys like Ilya Krajinovic.
And you say his name, that's good.
Trust me, I've practiced.
I just say Ilya.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than Va a couple years ago. It's a little bit different, but Ilya Krajinovic. I think I got it right. I'll have to double check with him in the size that he brings. And you get a guy like Evan Carney, who's been battling through some injuries that seems to be ready to go. Again, that offensive line, you talk about it starting on the defensive front. I think it really starts on that offensive line as well, with your run game, with your pass protection. You got to give those QBs time to find those talented wide receivers, and I think those guys up front. How would you rank this, the talent? You look at the last couple of years. 2 years ago, you said it's one of the best offensive lines I've ever had. Last year, you came in saying, yeah, this line this year might be better than last year's. How would you rank this year's? Again, it's a younger group.
They're younger, they're not as experienced, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think as far as just powerful and come off the football and get movement, which will hopefully improve our run game, athletic ability to be able to pass pro, it's there, right? But it's a bunch of individuals that hadn't done it together. So that's going to be a key. But, man, I think Coach has done a great job. Coach BK has done a great job of just adding depth and creating competition. We probably got, I really think, Hook, we probably got 10, 11 guys that can play winning football for us in that offensive line group. So you're talking about a good two deep. So that's going to be, like you say, the Evan Carney's now and all Senaz is back. All these guys have got valuable experience. They hadn't done it on a daily basis. But I really believe those guys with Ilya and some of the other guys that we added in the portal is really going to give us a chance to hopefully be more of a balanced football team. In the past, really last, the first 2 or 3 years I've been here, we've tried to win. We've won a lot of games, scored a lot of points and being explosive. I think we're now, if you just say compare that, I think this year's teams, there'll be more just the ability to go win in tough games, like run the football, defend the run better, be better on defense, be more physically able to just stand up to people and say, hey, here we are, see if you can beat us. In the past, we had to do it with just a great offense. I think now we're getting to that point this year, especially with those veterans that all stayed. A lot of them could have went the Micahs, the Caleb Fishers.
Went into the portal. They came back.
They came back. They didn't, they wanted to make sure. They said, Coach, if it ain't nothing really, really great, we're coming back. And they did. And, them and Samari and Haywood, you talking about that's not going to be around very much longer in college football. 5th and 6th year guys who all have been at one place.
Not at one place.
5 or 6 years.
You're going to have 5 or 6 or 7 year guys, but they're not going to be at one place.
And I think that's going to be, big time for us this year is to have that kind of experience.
So already at the printers are the Run the Dang Ball Kerwin shirts. Is that what I'm hearing? Run the Dang Ball Kerwin.
Well,
and and nobody's more happy than Branson Adams and Murray Reed and Pat Boyd. Those guys are all thrilled. Jaden Bond. Those guys are happy to hear the Run the Dang Ball Kerwin shirts.
Well, we want to be more balanced. I thought we was heavy a lot last year throwing the football, and we threw it really well. Led the nation in passing.
Yeah. School record.
But listen, if you want to be really dominant and be able to beat the best teams, which we do, we want to be able to win, against the best teams. We got to be able to a little bit more balanced, and we know that. So I think with our running game, with this line who's going to be able to knock people off the ball, I think our run game is going to be better. And if it is, then we got a chance to be really good on offense.
Yeah, I think we ran for over 200 yards in that scrimmage. Now we had 21 different possessions to do so, and I think we threw for 500 and something yards. So not as balanced maybe in that scrimmage. Let's talk about that as we look forward to this week's scrimmage. Last week's scrimmage, you got to see a lot of guys. You got some guys out that for precautionary, for dinged up. Let's get some guys some reps. Let's get the younger guys out there. But you had to be pleased to know the word you used with me was inconsistent, and you kind of expect that in the first one. A lot of guys, as Ryland told me, he said, a lot of guys, this is their first college scrimmage, the first time they've been out in a situation like that. But had to feel pretty good to see, the numbers. You still put up 50-something points. Again, 21 possessions, take it for what it was. But both sides had their moments. Defense started out really well. Offense finished strong.
Well, that's what if you looked at that scrimmage, listen, you're just keeping up, with all those possessions, all the points. So that really don't tell the story. The story was the defense really dominated early on.
Yeah.
They dominated the line of scrimmage. They played really good the run game, which is what we got to be better running it, but we also got to be better. If we're going to be a championship team, we got to be able to stop the run more consistently. And I thought we're starting to show that with that veteran group that we have over there. So I was really pleased, other than it was a little sloppy on the offensive side of the ball. But again, like Ryland's telling you, there's only one guy, if you think about it, started more than half the season. That's Branson.
Yeah.
Branson. There's nobody else that's really started a lot of games on the offensive side. So this is a big turnover. We got a lot of talented guys there. But it's going to be a work in progress just trying to get them up to speed where we want, listen, we always don't be good on offense. I ain't worried.
I was going to say, we always talk about the offense.
The standards don't be there, but we got to find the right guys, and we got to get some guys back healthy. And our O-line and our receiver core right now is beat up. But, I think that's the situation where, we feel like we've got the players now that we got to just bring them together and make sure that, that we're putting them in the right positions.
I'll tell you, he's beating people up right now in the wide receiving corps is Malik Knight. He's having an outstanding camp, what he's been able to do, what he did in the scrimmage this past weekend. And, of course, we'll be here each and every Monday night starting August 25th to have our Catamount Football Weekly, where we talk with the head ball coach. We'll talk more about the preseason. We'll look into that first game against Gardner-Webb. So, again, just kind of a little taste. Just a little taste to tantalize people out there to get them to come back and watch that. Make sure when you're in town, if you're around and you're in Jackson County and you come out here, come on out to Catamount Jaxe and watch the show in person. A lot of fellowship. Again, coach is always great to be able to sit and talk with, and I think he's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. And so make a chance to come out here and visit them at Catamount Jaxe. And, Coach, looking forward again this weekend, another scrimmage. What are you looking to build upon as you go into the potential scrimmage this weekend?
Well, I think whenever you have a great camp, usually that first week or first 10 days for us, when you're installing, right? You're installing everything. Guys are trying to get the young guys caught up with the older guys. You're trying to cut down the MAs, mistakes as much as possible, missed assignments. You're trying to cut those things down as you install, and so it's just trying to get everything in. We're at that point now. Now, from Saturday till next Saturday, we got to see a big time improvement on execution. Taking those plays now, they should be a little bit more comfortable with them as a group. And now we got to be able to take that execution to a different level. We've always prided ourselves on, people say, why you've always been good on offense? Because we execute at a high level.
Right.
We don't do a lot of trick stuff. We just flat out execute at a high level with our run game, our pass game, our protections. And so we've got to get that execution level up where it's at. We had a little come to Jesus meeting with our offense. I know what it looks like, and it's not where we need to be right now. So we've got a big week this week to next Saturday be a much improved football team on both sides of the ball as far as being consistent, being efficient, being a winning football team. We did a lot of little things that would have got you hurt or got you beat last weekend.
Right.
We got to make sure those disappear and we become that efficient football team that you want to win those big games.
I think I was on the turf during one of those meetings that you had there, and I'm pretty sure there's a burn spot right where you were standing. He was pretty hot. You were pretty hot. And like I said, normally I don't see you that way unless there's an official standing across from you, but this time was your team. So, again, and I think they responded to that pretty well. So, again, don't forget, Coach, we'll be back here each and every Monday through the season. Usually at 6 o'clock. We'll have a couple of those we'll alter when we move practice times around with bye weeks and things of that sort, but most of the time will be at 6 o'clock. You can check the Catamount Sports Network. You can also check Catamount's Facebook page. Also looking to go through YouTube this year. That was something that some of our fans had mentioned, trying to branch out, trying to simulcast. We're getting into the 2025, Coach. We're sending it everywhere now in terms of Facebook Live and YouTube to try to get this thing archived. So you're going everywhere. You're going worldwide, Coach.
Maybe we're reaching everybody, because I tell you what, I wanted to make sure these people out here, all you Catamounts, get some other people to come to this first game. Listen, we got to get off to a good start. And Gardner-Webb's a good program.
For sure,
They've won.
Sure.
They was in the playoffs. They've made the playoffs. Elon's a really good football team. We had a tough time with them.
Yeah, it was one-score game.
Yeah, I mean, they were tough. And we got to get off to a good start. And we've got the best game day crowd in FCS football.
For sure.
Especially on the East Coast. It ain't even close. So show up, man. Show up and get your friends to come. Come enjoy the game and, man, help us get off to a really good start. And I like having those home games, Then we got to go see what we can do with Wake Forest. But we need our crowd to really come out the gates and be that village we need. Listen, we're going to do our part over here. We don't work our players are working extremely hard. I want you to know that. But I need y'all to work hard, too, and get here and support us, and you can make a difference, man. Our students, our band, and our alumni and our participation from Catamount Nation makes it the best game day experience in all of FCS football, especially on the East Coast. There's no comparison. And so let's make it even better, sell out both of these next two home games. So I'm asking you all to get involved and help get this thing done.
And, of course, I would say season tickets are your best option, quite honestly, because tickets are going fast. Single-game tickets are on sale. But, again, a lot of those single-game tickets are starting to fly out the door.
Yeah.
That takes away from what you can get. So make sure you get your season tickets. Again, visit CatamountSports.com for all the information on getting those tickets, and we hope to see you back in Catamount Country. 6 home games, the biggest home schedule since 2019. Under the lights for the first games, what the plan is to have fireworks. Again, first home night game planned, as it were, since 2021. We had the Sanford game that finished under the lights, but it wasn't planned. And trust me, I think Chris Hatcher still remembers that. I think you guys were talking about that when I interrupted you guys when I asked you if you were adding a fullback.
Yeah.
Remember that at Media Day. But make sure you get your tickets.
Yeah,
make sure you're here.
He's still upset about that.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Kerwin, I can't believe you made me stay over there and play. He said, I got back at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, it's okay. He got back.
Hatch, sorry about that.
Yeah, that was Sunday. He still wasn't Monday yet. So
we had to finish that thing. We were,
Yeah.
we were playing good. We got to win a game. If you can win it, got to win.
I mean, if he was playing good, he would have wanted to finish it too.
Oh
right?
yeah, we wouldn't have left. We wouldn't have left there until about 2 if it had been up to him.
For sure. All right, Coach, that's all the time we have for our Catamount Coaches Show, our 2025 Fall Sports Preview presented by Stanberry Insurance. Visit them online, stanberry-ins.com. And make sure you come and visit us here at Catamount Jaxe. Again, great social house here. They got the axe throwing in the back. Take out some aggression on the walls there. I think I've seen Kerwin back there a time or two. Didn't want him to come after that one practice because he might have thrown the axe through the wall. But make sure you come and visit these fine folks here. All the support they give us here in Catamount Athletics. For our entire crew, for our coaches, talking about Chad Miller, Jesse Norman, Karen Glover, and, of course, the old ball coach himself, Kerwin Bell. I'm Daniel Hooker from the Catamount Sports Network saying see you next time right here on Facebook Live.